All right, I think we are live right now. Right, just gonna wait a while more, just wait a few minutes, right, just for some people to come on. Okay. Hey guys, you can hear me? Just let me type yes in the chat. Yeah, just let me type yes in the chat if you guys can hear me. All right, so I'm just going to go episode number 6, right, for Mastery Mondays, right? We're doing it for 6 weeks, so that should be pretty interesting. Guys, you can hear me? Just let me type yes in the chat. Hi, Nana, what's up? Yo, what's up? Long time no see, bro. All right, look at this, man. I'll show you something. All right. I got it during the Amazon Prime sale, right? I think I was saving like $100 or something, so I decided to get it anyway. All right, so that's the Blue Yeti mic, right? I've been looking at it for like I think about 6 months, right? So just to treat myself a little bit. All right, anyway, guys, you can hear me, just me type yes, right? Besides Nana, right? I think there's a few people that should be on here, right? I see people in live, right? So you can hear me, just let me type yes, right? I'll get started really quickly. All right, I'll get started really quickly. All right, and I just want to say something, right? I think right now a lot of people are talking about the elections, man. People PMing me about what am I going to do during the elections. So if I have a bit of time, so I'm going to end, like I said, I'm going to end half an hour straight, direct to the point, right? I have a bit of time, right? The last part, closer to 7:45, right? I'll share a bit more about what I'm going to do during this election period, right? If I have a bit of, if any questions, right? Let me know and prepare them, and I'll share about them, right? So guys, besides Nana, anyone else can hear me? Right, I hope the rest of you can hear me. It's just a little error that I've had. Right, hi CT, what's up? All right, okay, so I guess some more than one person can hear me, so that's good. All right, just gonna wait just a while more, right, before I go on. Hi, why my head so big? Mr. Jie Kai, I think your head okay lah. We both have big heads lah. All right, hi Rodrigo, what's up? All right, hi Ming Zong. Okay, all right, I can see the comments over here. Wonderful. Okay, let me just set it up here and then I'll get started very quickly, right? So I see some familiar names. Hi Shin, how what's up? Right, hope you had a good rest. Yeah, so yesterday after the session I conducted, right, I went to knock out for a while. So yes, I was really tired. Right, respond to your message. Okay, right, guys. So very quickly, right. So today I'm going to share a couple of things. I think number one, I'm going to share about the one of the biggest mistakes, right, that get people to that even like smart, intelligent people, right, not to really live a life of not just profits, right, in terms of income, right, but also fulfilling, right. I'm also going to share a bit about, right, some of the specific tips I would actually advise, right, to prepare for 2021, right. Some of you might have heard it before. I just want to reiterate. There are some things I repeat over and over again because I think most of you know what I always say, right? A common practice, common knowledge is not common practice, right? So guys, if you're ready, can you just let me type yes in the chat? Right, let me type yes in the chat and I'll get started right away. Let me like this post. Hopefully more people can kind of watch, right? Just a weekly Mastery Monday just to set yourself up, right? Hopefully overcome some of the Monday blues that some of you might be facing, right? As I talk about a lot more, right? About not just about how you can implement, right? But really how you can make money, make profits, right? While being purposeful at the same time, right? In whatever you're doing right now at the moment, right? Just let me type yes, right? Let me type yes and let me just like the post, right? That will really be meaningful and then helpful to me. Okay. Okay, just gonna wait a while. Rodrigo is ready. That's great. All right, that's great. What's up? Okay. All right, so number one, right? The thing I'm going to share about, right, is why, in my opinion, from my observations, right, why do most people who are even smart and intelligent will never ever live both a life of not just high achievement but high fulfillment at the same time, right? And when I talk about smart and intelligent, right, I'm not saying that they have to have like super high IQs, right? I'm talking about even people who are hardworking, people who study very hard, right? People who really, in terms of their grades, their academics, they can be really good, right? They can even be pretty street smart, right, in terms of knowing who to talk to, how to navigate their way around the world, but they still not only live a life of high achievement, but not in the purposeful way as well, right? And this is one of my biggest observations, right, which is that they don't know how to differentiate, right, from what is good and what is great. Right, I think a lot of you might have heard of this, a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, right? But it's more so than that, right? It's about how a lot of people, right, they eventually settle, right? There's this one big word called settle, right? A lot of people, they start settling, and I've spoken to so many people, right? So for those who know, right, I'm from the business school in NTU, right? And these are, I think your grades have to be pretty high, right? Pretty high to get into that. And in the first few years, right, in the first year of working, I think most people are happy in where they are, right? Maybe some of them join a bank, some of them join an MNC, some of them join a huge marketing agency, for example, right? But what I realized, right, over the next couple of years, right, which is now at this period, right, that a lot of them start getting disillusioned, right, with where they are working from, right? So a couple of things happen, right? Number one, right, they just stay in where their job is. Right, they stay at where their job is, right, and they just complain a little bit, right? They don't try to give their all because they know that maybe it's hard for them to get promoted, right? Their colleagues are pretty toxic, right? The manager is not there for them, so they just tolerate, right? Because the pay is pretty decent, it's pretty good, right? So they just tolerate it. They just stay at the company, right? They might complain, they might not, right? Whatever that is, right? But basically they tolerate that, right? Because why? The pay is pretty good, the environment is pretty good, the job scope is pretty good. That's number one. Number two, right? What do some other people do, right? Which is right now what I see a lot of my friends doing, right? Which is that they start jumping from job to job, right? They start jumping from job to job, right? And what happened is the job that they go to, right? Typically, right, it's just pretty similar to what their previous job was, right? And usually, of course, they get a pay bump, right? Most people will never want to change to a job unless they get a pay bump, a pay increment, right? Whether it's 5%, 10%, even 20% for some people, I heard, right? Some people from government, they can work into some big MNCs, right? And they get 10, 15, 20% increment, right? And what happens is the joy, that high, right, or that pay increment, that change in environment lasts for quite a bit, maybe 3 to 6 months. Right, but what happened is after that, right, for some of them, right, for those who are lucky, right, they enjoy, they get fulfilled, right, they are happy. But for a big majority of people, right, is after that high gets done, right, they start going down, right, be your own boss, right. So the high, the fulfillment gets going down, and because of that, right, they start tolerating again, or they start switching to a new job all over again. Okay, so the thing is, right, when we just go for what's good, right? We go for the 10%, the 20% increment, right? We go for a change of job environment, which hopefully brings a bit more credibility, a bit more recognition in the space, right? But ultimately, right, that is not the reason why we're going to continue being profitable. That's not the reason why we're going to continue being fulfilled at the same time. Because typically for most people, right, we tend to compromise either one of them. Right, we tend to compromise either one of them, right? And that's the problem, right? Because why? We only settle for the good, we don't settle for the great. We only focus on what the things that we don't want, right? And we start tolerating the things that are just pretty okay, right? I think like what Renzo shared over there, right? Congrats on your recent partnership with ClickFunnels, by the way, right? But really, right, we just settle on certainty, we settle for 7 out of 10, and we are pretty happy about it, right? So what I would recommend, right? Obviously, I'm not telling you to try to be great for every single thing. It's not just your job or career, right? It can even be your health and fitness, right? It can even be the relationships you have, the friendships you have, right? It can even be about the house, the environment you have, right? It's a bit dirty, it's a bit messy, right? It's okay, it's good. You don't go for great, right? So the thing is, most of us live in that very good life for most of areas of it. I'm not telling you to go all out, right? Just to try to be great and everything, try to be 100 of 100 for everything. Because why, right? There is this thing called priorities. Right, there's this called priorities, right? And we can't, right? The challenge is we cannot, we have limited time, limited attention, we have limited energy, so we can't expect to be 100 out of 100 great at every single thing in our life, right? I'm sure most of you understand what I'm talking about, right? So what will I do, right? What will I do? I think I've shared a bit over the past couple of weeks, right? To choose what are the top 1 to 3 things that you want to be great at, that you want to reach a much higher level of life. That's your career, right? That's your business, that's your side hustle, that's your relationships, your health, your friendships. Choose 1 to 3 of how you want to constantly be good, not just good, but be great at it. And then make specific actions, right, to achieving, right, that 10 out of 10 life, to be great instead of just being good, right? And so what you're going to do is to sit down, right? Of course, to choose what you want to focus on. And then in your own words, right? In your own words, to write down, right? Guys, this is an actionable tip, right? Implement it if this is something that makes sense to you. Take 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? Just write down what does a 10 out of 10, right, in that particular area mean to you. Right, because the thing is, right, when we watch a lot of Gary Vee videos, we watch a lot of motivational Tony Robbins videos, right, we just know we want something more, or we know what we don't want. But what you're going to do is to really sit down to write down exactly how would that 10 out of 10 look like. What kind of career, right, what kind of day will you spend that you could say that, yes, it's a 10 out of 10 career for you, right? So that's what I'll do, right, to really write it in actionable tips, actionable images, right, about what that 10 out of 10 image right, will look like to you, and then so you can start moving towards there. So there's a specific tip that I share with my class, right, my 2-day master class as well, right? So we go specific, typically go deep down into what would a typical specific typical day, perfect day look like to us, right? So that's something that you can consider, right? And don't just aim for the good, right? And aim for the great, right? And do not settle, right? The thing is, a lot of us settle, right? But the whole point of life is not to just settle for a 6 out of 10, a 7 out of 10. It's to go for the 8, 9, 10 out of 10, right? And that's when you can really live not just a profitable life, right, but a purposeful one as well, right? Because the thing is, right, it's extremely possible to have both at the same time, but we need to first actually paint a picture of where exactly we want to go. Okay, so guys, if there's something that makes sense to you, receive some form of value, right, in whatever I just shared, right, about not settling but just aiming for great, right? Can you just let me type yes in the chat? Let me type me in the chat, right? So I know that it's pretty good value, right? So you guys can take some actionable tips. So that was a very implementable tip, which is that think about the top 1 to 3 priorities in your life and sit down and write down 10. What would the 10 out of 10 look like to you, specific to you? Okay. All right, so that's for number 1. I'm going to share about number 2, right? Which is, let me see over here, right? Which is one overlooked reason why many people can take lots of time to effort and plan their goals but never succeed. So the thing is, right, guys, a lot of people, right, they can spend a lot of time planning their goals, planning their actions, even planning their systems, right? So I'm even saying this for some of the more advanced people who know that it's not just about setting goals, it's about setting specific actions, it's about setting plans, right? And one huge overlooked reason that still prevent people, right? They still prevent people, right, from really succeeding, even though they take time to plan, their tactics, their strategy, right? Is the fact that many of them are still very vague, VAGUE, right? And so when I conducted my 2-day class, right, from the past weekend, right, I realized that a lot of them, we talk about setting specific plans, right? Setting specific actions they're going to take for the week. And I still realized that a lot of them are still extremely vague, right? So what happened is, for example, right, one of the biggest tip I say is, right, every 3rd Wednesday of the month, right, or maybe every Wednesday of the week, right, if you're a bit more active in investing, for example, right, to really just set the evening, right, instead of going out with your friends, having drinks, relaxing, watching Facebook, YouTube, right, to use that time for deep research, right, deep research into the stocks you have invested in, right, or to just research and to be improved in your investing. But the challenge with most people, right, is their action point, right, all they write is just to research on investing. But the thing is, right, if you are not ultra specific, right, on the exact action, the exact thing you want to work on, right, when the time calls for it, right, obviously initially you might be motivated, you'll do whatever it takes, right, but when you start being a bit more, when the high goes down, when the motivation goes down, right, when you want to be as specific as possible, right, when you actually want to take action, right, most people are still very vague. And because of that, right, even the act of deciding what exactly to do, right, will create that higher activation energy required for you to do the thing. So I'm not talking about after a Tony Robbins video, right? And for the next 30 days, you can go all out, go in. I'm talking about when things start becoming mundane, right? When nobody is cheering for you, when nobody's encouraging, when you yourself are the one, right, who needs to take action without anybody looking at you, right? So what you're gonna do is to reduce that friction, reduce the activation energy as much as possible. And one big tip, right, is to be very specific about exactly what are you going to do, right, or during a specific time. So for example, your Sundays, right? I always tell my people in the past weekend in class, right? I always say every Sunday plan out your task. And for some very big task that is your priority, I don't want you just to put down, for example, every Wednesday 8 p.m. to say work on investing, right? I want you to be very specific, right? Whether is it practicing 10 companies for technical analysis, for example, right? To go on hypercharts to look at the 10 top 20 companies that I'm invested in right now, right? For example, to what other things are there investing, right? To do a stock research report, right? For Facebook, for Instagram, for whatever, right? And so what to do, the more specific you are at the task, right, the more likely are you to do it, because then when you actually have to go sit down and do it, right, it's a very specific task. You don't have to waste time trying to think of what to do in the first place. Right. So that's just one of my quick tips for you. This is more for, like, let's say you're researching something, you're doing business. So for example, you're doing a side hustle, you're doing entrepreneurship, right? Instead of saying work on my business, right? What you can do is be way more specific, right? And to find out, say, research the top 10 competitors, right? and find out what exactly their weaknesses lie, right? Or right, spend half an hour right creating and publishing one piece of content, right? So the more specific you are, the way better, because when you actually go about doing it, right, you reduce the activation energy, you reduce the inertia required, right, and you are much more likely to do it, right? So I always talk about this concept called maximize the odds, maximize the probability for you to take a certain task. And this is one huge tip that I have for you, to be ultra specific instead of being vague. A lot of people, when they're actions, they just say, oh, I want to work on my business, oh, I want to work on my investing, right? But with the more specific you are, right, the more specific, the more likely are you to actually do what you set out to do. Okay, so guys, if you like that, just help me type yes in the chat. Help me like the video. That will mean so much to me, right? Just help me like the post. Help me type me if you like that particular point. If you have any questions, put them at the end, right? I think I will have some time to answer some of the questions you guys have, so that would be pretty cool as well. All right. So number three, right? Right? This is the biggest issue, right? So I'm getting a bit angst, right? So usually I'm in a few investing groups, right? And as much as right now, I don't try to teach so much on investing anymore, right? I'm really out of it, right? I don't teach it for income or, but I usually like to share it from the master implementers perspective, right? Because I know a lot of you out there are investors, right? And so I have a huge problem that I just want to rant a bit, right? If that's okay, right? I just want to rant a bit about a lot of the investors that I've observed over the past 2 weeks, especially, right? And the biggest problem I have, right? The biggest issue I have with a lot of these investors right now, right? Especially as you go on to the new elections, right? Is this one big word which most of you have heard before, right? But like I said, common knowledge is not common practice. So I just want to remind you, be naggy and rant a bit, right? I just hope it's just for your own good, right? Which is this word called conviction, right? After so long, right, I still read about a lot of people, right, who don't have this one word of conviction. And how do I know, right? How do I know, right? When most people ask questions in the chat, in the groups, they're still asking to be spoon-fed. They're still asking people, have you sold the stock yet? They're still asking, right, why do you want to invest? What price do I invest in this? Hey, it dropped 10% already. Should I buy in this stock? So the thing is, right, a lot of people are still willing to be spoon-fed. And why do they want to be spoon-fed? Because they don't have the conviction to make their own decisions. Obviously, you're starting out, you're a beginner. I completely understand, right? But one thing I sense from a lot of investors out there, even for some of the more intermediate experienced ones, right, is they don't have this one big word called conviction, right? They don't really know what they're investing in, right? So whether you're investing in companies like Nokia, right, Jumia, right, most people, right, when it starts going down, right, they start panicking, they start blaming, they start victimizing. Even for those who are not, they're quiet about it, right? But they are very worried. And one thing why they're worried is because they don't have conviction in the company they're in. So sometimes it's not your fault, right? I'm going to reiterate. Sometimes it's not your fault because, right, sometimes it's just because your skills are still lacking, right? You have not developed the analytical skills, right? That to really build up your conviction of a company in terms of fundamental, right? So sometimes because analytical skills, right, is not something that everybody can be pretty good at from the start, right? But something if you work on it, right, be way better. But a few quick tips, right, really to find out what are the key competitive advantages of a company, right? Really find out why would people want to choose them over somebody else, right? If you don't even know that basic question, right, you are losing out big time. And number two, right, what are the biggest possible reasons why the company wouldn't do well? Why would they potentially lose customers? These two, if you just find out these two key reasons itself, right, you are not going to panic, right? You're not going to panic when the market drops, when US elections come and whatever, right? And then you can ask yourself, do the US elections really matter, right? Do they really affect your company or not in the long run? Obviously, there's a mini trade issue going on, right? There's a recall. Of course, you drop 5 to 10%. It's a very short term. But ultimately, ask this too. If you're not even working on that, right? If all you're working on is what companies to buy, right? What trades, what kung fu strategy of your option strategy to do, right? You're not doing conviction, right? You are going to lose out big time. So one thing, right? Your big focus for this year, for the rest of this year, right? I would say for most of you out there is these few words, which is to sharpen your axe. Sharpen your axe, right? So if you know what I'm talking about, can you just let me type in the comment, sharpen your axe there, right? This is one of the habits from the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? I think I just want to revisit the fundamentals, which is sharpen your axe, to sharpen your analytical skills, sharpen your fundamental analysis, right? And that's what I would do, right, during this entire period, rather than focusing on how the elections is like, whether will Joe Biden win, whether will Donald Trump win, right? Whoever wins will win, right? Whatever, life goes on, right? Some shit will happen, right? Trump wins, some people will not be happy. Biden wins, some people will not be happy. Either way, right, there will be volatility, whatever already. We all know, we have talked about it for a long time. So remind the people, remind the beginners in your community, right? Whether it's your friends, your coaches, your fellow members, right? To sharpen your X and to sharpen your analytical skills. Okay, so I have a quick offer over here, all right? Just a very quick. If you're interested in to find out how you can sharpen your analytical skills, just drop me a PM, right? I think one of my friends is offering something, so I just want to share with you guys. So PM me, right? If you want to find out about way how you can sharpen your analytical skills. Yeah, so that's just something I want to put on. But really, right, build your conviction, right? That's what my big tip for you guys, right? Okay, number 4, right? I think I shared about it before, right? I shared about it before, right? It's my huge tip, right? A huge tip, right? I would give to you guys, right? If you really want to be to prepare yourselves, right? To prepare yourself for 2021 and beyond, right? So obviously I can give 1,000 tips, right? For you to have a wonderful 2021, right? You can look at articles, you can Google it, right? Obviously there are 1,001 articles, right? So I'm not saying that my tip is the best, but just something I thought I wanted to reiterate a little bit more for the people out there, right? So what I would do, right? One thing I would do, right, to really prepare myself for 2021 and beyond, right, is this one big tip, right, which is to do these 2 words, which is called spring clean, right? Spring clean, right? Spring cleaning, right? Maybe that's one word, right? So spring clean, and what do I mean, right, by spring clean, right? It's not just doing a physical spring cleaning of your house, right? No. I'm not just talking about your house. I'm not just talking about your cupboard. I'm not just talking about your shirts, your clothes, not your table, right? No, right? That you do that's totally fine. Do a spring cleaning, right, of this couple of things. Firstly, I always say your digital environment, right? Do a spring cleaning of your Facebook posts, your Instagram, who are you following, your YouTube channels, right? Your applications on your phone, right? Do a spring cleaning, right? You want to clean a bit, just clean it up, right? Why? Then you can actually focus more, right, and to declutter some of the things that you want to do. So do a spring cleaning. I think that would be a very big tip I have for many of you, right? So spring clean, right? And next one is a bit uncomfortable for people, right? This is something that's going to be very uncomfortable for people. Not everybody would like to hear this, right? Which is to spring clean your friends as well, right? Not to say to cut them out, to say they're toxic, to just not talking to them again, but right, to recategorize them, right? So I talked more about that during my 2-day class, but something to just think about, right? Are the people you're hanging out the most with right now, right? Are they really the people you're hanging out with the most with right now? Or are there people that you haven't been hanging out as much with, but you would like to hang out with them more moving forward? So not just a bad thing where you just clean, but it's about what else can you add? What else can you recategorize, right? For something that's been on, that's off the shelf, you haven't been meeting them enough, right? But you actually want to meet them more often because you know that, hey, right, there are people that can benefit from, that you have shared the same interesting passion. But can you just do something about to re-put them in your life, right? And just say, hey, would you like to catch up over this time, this period, right? And to do a bit of spring cleaning, right, of your social environment as well, right? So I'm not saying to cut them out, right? I'm just saying that, hey, it might be time to start recategorizing, re-looking about how you've been spending your time with your friends, the people around you, and just ask, are there some things, some friends that you might like to recategorize, right? And this is not to say that you feel like you're better than them, for example, right? But it's really to prioritize your personal growth, your personal well-being, right? To really prioritize on the things that you want to do. But the thing is, right, when I talk about purposeful life, right, it's not just about creating impact, right? And that's great and all, right? Having money, right? That's great, right? But it's about even who you spend your time with. Because relationship is one of the biggest influence, right, about how you live your life, right? So that's what I would say for a lot of you, right? Which is that a huge tip to prepare yourself for 2021 and beyond. Have a sit down over a weekend, right? Reflect, right? Put yourself to a nice place, right? It can be in nature, it can be a nice little cafe, right? And just to review, right? And just do a spring cleaning of not just your physical space, right? But spring clean your digital space, your laptop, your phone, right? Your friends, right? Your Facebook groups, your communities, your YouTube, right? And that when you the clutter in your files in your laptop and your phone, right? And overall, that will prepare you, right, much better for 2021 and beyond. Okay, right. So those are just a couple of things I just want to share for this edition of Mastery Mondays. Let me know in the comments if you actually like what I did. So hey, it's about 25 minutes, right? So that's good. Like I said, I go straight, direct, go to the point, right? And all these are specific, actionable tips, implementable tips. So never say that, right? Never say that right now, right? If you are complaining, there's too much information around. Right, if you're complaining there's too much information around, right? At least this Mastery Monday, right? I can tell you, if you actually implement what I tell you to do, right? Actually, if you take action on some of the tips, right, that I'm telling you right now, right? You don't have to go and get sucked into all the information that's going on right now, boss. At least right now, I know for this Mastery Monday, right? I am actually giving you actionable steps, actionable tips, right, that can use and implement for yourself right away, right after this call event, right? So I just want to do a reiteration, right? If you have any questions, right, about what I just shared, just put them in the comments. I'll be there and answer them, right? But right, I'm just going to reiterate. So number one, right, choose 1 to 3 top priorities that you have in your life right now and write down in your own words, right, what would a 10 out of 10 look like, right, in your visual image. So sit down, you take 5 to 10 minutes, right? It wouldn't take very long. What would a 10 out of 10 in that particular area of life look like for you? Okay, right? What I'm talking about, number 2, right? Number 2 is how can you be more specific, right? So look at your calendar, look at your actions, look at to-do lists. Are they being very vague? So do a review of them and then ask yourself, what are the most specific things can you do, right, to really move you forward instead of just being very vague and all about it. Okay, number 3, right? Number 3, in terms of conviction, right? Sharpen your analytical skills, right? This is something you can drop me a PM, right? This is a specific action, right? You can go and search through your mentors, your community around, right? But at the same time, if you want a specific tip, I can give you. Just drop me a DM. I'll be there to help you out. And number 4, right? Do a sit down, right? Schedule a time, right, where you can actually do a spring cleaning, right, of your digital environment, your social environment, right? And that is how you prepare yourself for 2021 and beyond. Okay, so guys, if you like this sharing, can you just help me type yes in the chat? Help me type yes in the chat, right? Help me smash the heart button, like button if there's something that you enjoy, right? You got some good tips. You just help me type yes in the chat. That will mean so much to me, right? And at the same time, I'll just be hanging out for a while in case you have any questions that I might be able to help you answer. Okay, all good, guys? All right, so let's just yes. Harry says yes. That's great. Right, thanks, guys. Yeah. So anything, right? Any questions? Any questions? Just let me know. Right. These are quick, short tips. Right. I hope this benefits you. Right. And yeah. So I think that is what that's all I have for tonight. Right. Okay. Any quick one? Any quick question to help out with? Right. Okay, we have 3 more minutes, right? We have 3 more minutes, and I was inspired to ask you this right now, right? By one of my other friends called Daryl. I think some of you know him, right? And instead, so who would actually be open, right? Who would actually be open to, instead of just a pure webinar, a pure class, for example, right? You actually want, let's say, a 2-hour group coaching session. Right, that means instead of me giving you some pieces of content, right, or giving you like a predefined pieces of content, you actually don't mind, right? I can do it free, just to test it out, right? 2-hour free group coaching session instead, right? So that's something I got an idea. I just wanted to put it out there. If you're interested, let me know in the chat, right? Let me know in the chat, right? If I get enough interest, right, I might just want to do that, right? For just to test it out, right? Just for the fun of it, right? A group instead of a workshop, a webinar, right? Because I think a lot of people have been getting a lot of webinars so far, but actual group coaching session where you get direct feedback based on your own personal situation and preferences and your desired lifestyle as well, right? Then just let me know in the comments if there's something that you like, right? And yeah, I might be able to do it, especially for people who want to create a side hustle or you're already doing a side hustle. I think that's the specific topic I'll be doing, a group coaching session for your own personal business. Okay. All right, Mary, how do you maintain the momentum and energy level, right? So Mary, right, actually, you actually gave subtly, right? You actually wrote down the answer yourself already about how do you keep up the momentum and how you keep up the energy level. Because the one word you wrote, right, which is very important for people, right, which is this word called maintain, right? You didn't ask about how can I have very accelerated fast momentum? How can you increase and keep growing your energy levels, right? So the word maintain means that you don't go all the way, right? Because what happens for most people, right? For people who are type 1, the fact that most of you are watching this webinar already means that you're not those who are just content and comfortable, right? You're not just someone who is but just okay for normal and relaxed life. Most of the fact that you're watching me, right? Because I'm not the one just telling you, hey, you can chill, you can be happy, right? In terms of I want you to just go all and just go give your all and just really go out to achieve the kind of life you want, right? So the word maintain is very important because then that creates the word called sustainability, because you want to maintain on a regular level. So I've been talking about it for the past couple of weeks already, right? But for you, Mary, right, it's just this one concept which I learned from my mentor called Melvin So, right? It's called discharge, right? Which means that saying, right, to really pace yourselves, right, on a daily basis, right? So for me, right, I think what I learned from Brandon Burchard, right, about from his study from top high performers around the world, right, on average about 52 to 53 minutes, right, you take about 5 to 7 minute break. right? And what do you do during this 5 to 7 minute break, right? Firstly, you got to be disciplined enough. But sometimes I know you might be in a flow, you might want to have a lot of tasks to do, right? So you might want to keep going, might want to keep going, right? But in about the 5 to 7 minutes, right, to really take a break, and your break doesn't mean checking your phone. It doesn't mean going on Instagram, doesn't mean going YouTube, doesn't mean gossiping with friends, right? It's for you, right? Basically, it's for you to go do this thing called discharge, right? I learned this from Melvin, right? So all credits to him, right? And what I'm gonna do is, firstly, right, I can just close your eyes, right? Close your eyes and just do many deep breaths, a couple of deep breaths, just to ground yourself, to settle yourself, to rest your eyes, rest your brain just for a bit. And what I will do to add on, right, number one, to acknowledge myself for what I've just done over the past 52 minutes. So just to let myself feel good about it, right? Let my nervous system feel good about it, right? Tony Robbins shared about that as well. So I'm just combining what I learned from different sources as well. So acknowledge yourself for what you have done, right? And set your intention for the next task, your next 50 minutes to 1 hour task, right? Set yourself an intention, remind yourself why are you doing all this, right? And just remind yourself, right, the purpose for doing the action in the first place. And so what I do, right, in the 5 to 7 minutes is just really to rest, because why? You want to be sustainable, right? You don't want to go all out, right, and just burn out. A lot of people get burnt out, a lot of people get overwhelmed, right? Not because they are lazy or whatsoever. It's because they just go all out, right? They just sprint, but they don't take some time to keep their breath. Right, so that's what was one huge tip I would do for you, Mary. Right, but obviously I cover a way more specific tactics and strategies, right, in my 2-day class as well. But obviously, if you watch through my past posts, my past videos, my past Mastery Mondays, I gave other tips that how you can maintain your momentum and energy level as well. Is that okay, Mary? I hope that was useful to you. Okay. Right, so Casper said I'm interested. Sure. I'll share more about it maybe in the next couple of weeks. But I'll be seeing you in November. Yeah, Casper. So I'll be seeing you in November as well. Okay, so with that, guys, I end my Facebook Live. It's 7:47. I went overrun by 2 minutes, right? But I hope you guys enjoyed today's edition of Mastery Mondays. A quick half an hour, right? Really on just specific strategies, tools, and mindsets, right? That can really move forward, right? Specific action tips and move your forward life forward. Okay, bye, guys. I'll see you guys soon, and take care, everyone, and have a good week ahead, right? And I'll see you guys on Telegram, Facebook, and Zoom. Bye bye.